Hello, everybody.
Bird.
Welcome to this week's episode of Sock Talks with Shawn and Joy. We're glad to have you here today. Hope we can inspire you to take another step in another direction, to help your business. So today, hey, Shawn, it is.
How are you?
Good.
I told you not to drink Bloody Marys before we do this. You always get tongue-tied when you start your Bloody Marys at 11 o'clock in the morning. Gee,
I know. What is with that? We talk like normal.
Martinis. Go with martini.
Yeah.
It's that tomato juice that messes you up.
Oh, don't say tomato juice. That's a long story.
Okay. That's a whole nother Zoom.
Yeah, that's a whole nother Zoom.
Yeah.
Talk about the tomato. Here we
well,
are.
now that we're on topic already.
Yeah. So anyways, hey, we decided it is August the 1st in just a few days. And, in a normal world, we'd be thinking about getting everybody back to school. Not that they're not now, but then as far as your business coming into the busiest time of the year. So regardless, what should we be doing to get yourself ready for this time of year? It is right around the corner, whether we realize it or not. Christmas will be here in 5 months?
Yeah, 4 months up. Oh, 4.5, yeah.
Yeah, 4.5. So Shawn, what do you do with your business this time of year to get yourself up and going and set up for the nice fall season?
I try not to. We all go through this, right? We got our ups and but I try to make it flatten the curve, like we've all been heard. So it is. It's trying to do, not drastic drop-offs where you're not doing anything for a month and then, oh my God, I'm so productive for 3 weeks, and then, oh my God. So really kind of keeping it consistent, like we've talked in the past. But I think, I know in Ohio, where I came from in the Franklin County, Columbus area, their kids aren't going back to school. It's going to be remote schooling again, which could be a big opportunity for us, where some people, one parent or the other may not be able to work if they have kids at home and there's not daycare. So they're going to look for other things. So I think you just kind of go back to the basics if you've taken the summer off or if you've relaxed a little bit, where, you make your list, you find networking groups. I am new to an area in Florida. And I went virtually to a BNI group last Friday.
Okay.
They sent me the thank you for coming email, and here's all our members. So there's 107 members in this group.
Wow, that's a big
on Monday.
chapter.
Yeah. So on Monday, I'm just like, I'm going to text 25 at a time and just say, hey, visited your group on Friday, look forward to joining and love to have a one-on-one. And I think I have 15 or 20 appointments over the next week and a half.
Wow.
Just from that. And it, visit a couple, if you can't commit to something, visit a couple BNIs and they're virtual, and just you probably can find their list if you're struggling for people on your list. If you don't have, 100, 200, 300 people that you can just start going down, visit a couple and then just reach out to them. And I just said, I didn't say anything about send out cards. I just said, hey, I'd love to learn, more about you and what you do and how I can help you. And obviously I had one yesterday. Hey, what do you do? Tell me. And went into it and showed them how to send a card. And so it's just that process. I think we can do more now because of people being comfortable with Zoom. You don't have to drive around all over the place to have appointments. You can kind of set 4 or 5 back to back, and 4 or 5 hours. You've got, you do that's 20 appointments in a week.
Right.
20 to 25 in a week. And even if you're at a 50% ratio of getting business, that's 10 to 12 new customers a week, or maybe a couple new affiliates. So
well, I'll tell you, when I hear your numbers about 20 or 25 a week, that's like a dream, to have that many a week. So we're kind of going to go off that a little bit, Shawn. So basically you just see what you're trying to find out what they do, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. Use the BNI Givers Gain. Let me learn about you. If I take an interest in you and what you do and how I can help you, like the one yesterday, it was a young kid's been down here 4 or 5 years. His brother lives in Columbus. What a coincidence.
Oh, wow.
And he asked, hey, do you know anybody up there that does this? And I connected them, the two of them. And that's what it's about. Start building that relationship. And it's, I think if you go into it going, God, I'm going to get a customer. I'm going to get a customer. That always backfires. Versus if
Yeah.
you go into it, I just want to learn about who they are, what they do, how I can help them.
Hmm.
Who do I know that I can connect them with? And then if there's an opportunity to show them how to send a card on that first time, do it. If not, hey, I'd love to. I always leave it if I don't have them send a card. Either at the end of the conversation, I'll say, hey, I would love to show you how to send a card. Let's schedule a next time, or a follow up text and say, hey, I'd love to love to show you how to send a card. When can we spend another half hour, 45 minutes together, and let me show you what I do. So
Hmm.
them first, I think always.
Always.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
oh.
yeah. So
But
your average one-to-one is probably not even more than 30 minutes, right?
no, it's probably an hour. I try to
Go for an hour?
schedule out
Yeah.
an hour. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Um, some don't last that long. I had one the other day. It was 35 minutes.
Hmm.
So, but we started great conversation, and he knew of send out cards, and I was just learning about what he did in his business.
Yeah.
Um,
Now,
and
do
then
you have?
send a card, and I always ask for their address. Always ask for
Yes,
their
yes,
address.
yeah,
Text me your address, and you send that card out immediately, just to say thank you. I appreciate
right.
your time. Connect with them on Facebook and LinkedIn. Do the whole thing.
Yeah. So, do you have a way that you keep track of these folks after you? I mean, you're obviously gathering a lot of information about them. I would never remember all that. I just totally wouldn't remember all that. Do you have some kind of way that you do remember, other
I
than
use
your
the
brain being different
the
than mine?
Jordan book to do little notes on
Mhm.
everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, that's that's what I've to me that's the easiest. I can pick it up and okay, I can flip back 5 or 6 pages and who haven't I sent a card to, who haven't I reached out to in a long
Start
time.
the funnel. Yeah.
Just
Start the funnel moving.
just to keep that and then move it once. So those are kind of prospects in one book and notes. And then once I've sent them a card, they go to my, now it's time to close them.
Right.
So,
Right. So
but
cool.
whatever works. I mean, I know some people are the computer. I can pop little notes on my computer real quick and add them right here and do that. I like the paper stuff, the old school. So
Yeah, yeah. So in your case, I mean, you're just coming to an area, so everybody's new to you, and
everybody's
so
new. Yeah.
yeah,
Everybody, there's
so
an opportunity everywhere.
yeah, exactly. So when you're talking to somebody and you say, how you can help them, how isn't that hard when you just move there
I
yourself?
did, and I told my wife. I said my biggest concern with joining a BNI group is can I pass referrals?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm new to the area, but I think once you get into a group, and I go back to when I was in Columbus. You know, I've talked before. There were two big Facebook groups that were 3,000 members in one and 3,000 members, 3,500 in another, and we got together. At least twice a month in both groups live back in the day. And there were new people all the time that were new to the area and just started building relationships, made those connections. And so I'll find, but just living my life out and about, I'll make
Mhm.
other connections and be able to, if nothing else, connect people. I think you two should meet. You have some good synergy. You guys kind of think the same way, even if it's not a hard referral for their business,
Right.
maybe it's a connection that I can make with people.
Right.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that's good that concerns me. That can I pass referrals? Then I think my mindset is right versus how many people am I going to get to do send out cards in this group?
Right.
It's just a switch, but how can I help them? And if I really have that hat on and try to do that first, I think the rest it takes care of itself.
Right, right. So we're coming into the last quarter,
Hmm.
which is typically, obviously it's a great time for us. It's a great time for almost all businesses, in the
Right.
last quarter of the year. So how do you find yourself, of course, Florida, you've got yourself, you're in the right track with what you need to do there because you're just meeting people for the first time. But you've got all these other people up in the Columbus area. And for most of the audience, we've got a database of people. What do we do now that's going to be different in preparation for the last quarter?
I can go to work
Yeah.
if you haven't been. Send card. I send 10 to 20 cards a day, and a lot are up north because that's where
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
have my database and have my sphere. And I noticed in the last couple of weeks I have people reaching out to me. I sent
Okay.
a happy birthday card to somebody, and they said, "Oh, thanks." I used to send out cards a long time ago. I should look at that again. I'm like, yeah,
Hmm.
it's awesome now. And, let me know when we can get together.
Sure.
Had a realtor reach out to me, and I got to stay in touch with my clients. So I think, I think what we've gone through, people are kind of evaluating what they do and how they do it. And
Hmm. Hmm.
am I doing the right things? How can I get more business if this continues through the end of the year?
Right.
Uh, and it's reaching out to people that you haven't, again, going through my book and looking back and saying, oh, I haven't talked to them in a while. I showed them in February up north. Let me give them a call and see what's new and how you doing. And,
Hmm.
what are you thinking about send out? It's a great time to get started, kind of plant that seed. If they're ready, then they are. If not, we'll schedule another time to have an appointment and get them set up.
Right. Right. Yeah, because under normal days, with
Yeah.
all of this pandemic stuff going on, we would be thinking right now of talking to a lot of corporations or bigger companies that do gifts for their employees and clients and that type of thing. You can't wait for that, to happen in November when they're thinking about doing it.
No.
I
Gotta,
mean,
yeah.
they budget that kind of stuff now. It's a whole different little ball game probably this year. But the point of the matter is this is the time to be reaching out even more. No matter what you've been doing in the past for people, you need to double it. As Jamie Q always says, 10x it,
Right.
10x it, because what you do now is going to be, is setting you up for not only the end of the year, but the beginning of the new year.
Well, and
So,
I think it might work. There's probably going to be two schools of thought with companies about holiday cards and gifts is, we're saving all this money from all our employees working at home. We can up the budget and send more out. And then you're going to have
good
the
point.
sum there. My business is struggling. I don't know that I could spend that, which is foolish. They really should. That's the time you really need to reach out and, not ask for the business, but just stay in touch with your clients. So I think there's got to be some coaching on our end when you have that obstacle, like, I didn't do the business I thought I was going to do this year. All right, well, what if this continues into next year? What are you going to do differently? How have you reached out to your past clients? Get them thinking a little differently too. So they see it as a value, not an expense.
Right.
Because we know if they reach out to their clients on a regular basis, they're going to get business.
Hmm.
But a lot of business owners and companies don't think that way. They just see it as it's on the expense side. My business is down. I got to cut costs, which is,
Yeah.
I remember going to an advertising for TV, the big room, and the guy's like, so you're slow, your business is not doing well, and you want to stop telling people what you do and stay in touch with them. That, it doesn't make it's counterintuitive, but it's, any big company, marketing is the first line item they kind of look at after employees to cut. So it's
Right.
kind of coaching them and making them think a little differently that, now's really the time. And people are more appreciative of it, even more so than
Hmm.
in the past with getting a real card. So,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yep. Yeah, I just had a client I had to talk with yesterday that was trying to back down and trying to I don't want to say convince him, but just trying to have him see the vision.
sure.
This is the time to do that.
Right.
This is the time to rev it up, not back it down. Because that's you're branding yourself and you're giving yourself people are looking at you differently.
Right.
By doing the cards we coach them to do.
Well, I think people, we're going to off on a totally different tangent, but I think people are kind of evaluating companies that they want to work with and how's the company handled themselves during this time?
Exactly.
Have
Exactly.
they totally, you know, helped out their employees, done what they can in the community, you know, be communicate positively, um, versus cutbacks and layoffs and not going to stay in touch with you. So I think
Right.
people hopefully will look at that and say, okay, X company did this, Y company did this. I like Y. Okay, I'm going to work with Y. So, but
It's
it's
all
having
about, yeah, it's all about how you made them feel through all of this.
no, yeah,
I mean, and I've said that right from the very beginning when all this started back in March. It's like, right now you could really put a name for yourself, you
you
know?
could be doom and gloom, or what? Somebody there was a radio station on Facebook. It's like, how would you rate yourself? Give yourself a grade. During this time, how have you been? I'm like, A. I don't know. I mean, how I wear a mask when I go out to places, but other than that, I really haven't changed how I do things, how I approach things. Still, probably more rose-colored glasses than I should have on sometimes, and positive, but that's the way I live. So,
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the time, and you brought up
So
some good points about this
make
time.
your list.
Huh?
Make your list
List?
if you haven't. Go back through your list. Who'd you show before this whole started that maybe you didn't communicate with, besides maybe sending them cards, and reach back out to them. Don't forget to share the opportunity with people as well. It's not, you can send cards and gifts, but hey, I would like to get paid for to do that and share it with people. Don't make it difficult. Don't be hard on yourself if you haven't been doing something. Just call one person today. One person. Reach out to one person.
Yeah.
I think we're too hard on ourselves. Well, I haven't done anything for a week and a half or 3 weeks or a month or since March. This isn't, your goal is to reach out to one person today and say, hey, I showed you an X and I'd love to follow up with you, or I'd love to show you something really cool. That's your homework today. One person. And if you're overachiever like Joy, it's 3 to 5.
I was going to say, if you're one of these people that are making a commitment to do 3 a day, just add one more to it, just kind of step your game up a little bit, and just tiny steps.
What's the old ad? You're one person away from a totally different life.
Yeah.
And the person that you think of first that you go, I don't know if I should talk to them. That's exactly who you should talk to.
Yeah.
Don't go for the low-hanging fruit. Go for the person that, wow, they're successful. I don't know. They might not be. That's exactly the person you should be reaching out to.
Yeah.
And those should be on the top of your list.
Yeah. I want to say all the time, you're always looking for somebody who can do better than you.
Right.
Which
in my case is a lot of people. So I'm fortunate in that case. There's thousands and millions of people out there better than me. So perfect.
Perfect. So sometimes we get in our own way, or we get in our own way to
lots. Absolutely.
And I can't even tell you how many times I've gotten off, and I tell Mark all the time, I get off and I'm shaking my head, come out of the office, he says, what are you doing? I says, I've been putting off calling this person. I've been putting off making phone calls. I sat down today and I made a commitment of how many I was going to do, and daggone, that's when somebody pops up and says, I'm so glad you contacted me. Yeah, I want to talk about X. And you just like, why don't you do this more?
That prompting thing.
Why do we get our own way?
When you think of somebody, it's not just send them a card. It may be a reach out to them and say, hey, let's talk about send out cards.
And I just shake my head and say, Jesus, man, if you did that more often, what do you think?
What would your business look like if you did that every day this time next year?
Exactly.
You'd be amazed.
That's perfect. What would your business look like a year from now?
Go to work.
Commitment today to do one more. One more every day.
One more.
Just one more. So
perfect.
Well, that's perfect. So, hey, I guess that's a wrap here for today, folks. Hope we were able to share some good tidbits and information for you. And, hey, August 1st is coming. The fall is coming. Don't
2 days.
Get wrapped up that people don't want to hear from you. Don't get wrapped up that you're bothering them.
Right.
Don't make the choices for them. Make your own choices. Make your own choices and reach out. You never know who you're going to help. So,
absolutely.
With that said, we're going to sign off. See you next week. Please share, pass on, and
take care.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Have a great week.